first visited New York City in 2010. My girlfriend, now wife, is from Manhattan. I moved here in February 2014, got married, had a baby, and we've lived here ever since.
I want to tell you the 10 things I've learned from 10 years of living in New York City, and specifically Manhattan. But first, I keep coming back to that first moment I ever saw New York City in 2010. I was walking up these stairs from Penn Station, and that's when I saw it. The city lights, the people, cars, controlled chaos, the energy. It was intoxicating. I was in love. Over these last 10 years of living in Manhattan, I've learned many things as someone who grew up in the Kirkland suburbs of Seattle. Here are my top 10. Number 1, the best parts of New York City are leaving and returning. I still get the same energy rush whenever I come back to the city, but then if I stay here too long without leaving the island or its boroughs, I start going crazy. The lack of nature, the density, and the intensity wear on me. But after a quick day trip or extended trip outside the city, I feel refreshed and ready to return. In fact, I'm craving my return to the city. Then the cycle starts all over again. The point is, New York City is best in smaller doses. Many of the people who live here move around a lot. They leave on weekends, they go on trips, they disappear during the summer. That's the secret to living full-time in New York City. Leaving and then returning, refreshed and ready for that addictive shot of energy. Number 2, avoid tourist hotspots, Penn Station and Times Square in particular. When you're in the city, spend your time well. If you've never been here before, I get why you'd want to see places like Times Square, but that's all you should be doing. Seeing it and leaving. Don't loiter. Definitely don't eat any of the food. No need to check out the M&M store. The same stuff happens in London and Leicester Square. It always shocks me. World-class cities with so much culture and people spend their time in the most commercialized central areas. If you want a real taste of New York City, avoid the tourist hotspots and dig deeper into the neighborhoods. Number 3, how you dress and present yourself here is important. If you walk around in sweatpants and dirty sneakers, you'll be treated accordingly. Yes, gone are the days where people wear more business casual, let alone more formal attire, but almost all New Yorkers dress reasonably well. What you wear doesn't need to be expensive, but it needs to be thoughtfully put together, matched, layered, fitted, clean and neat grooming, the basics. This isn't for superficial reasons, it's because in New York City, how you dress sends a message. Are you a serious person? Do you want people to treat you with respect? Do you want them to treat you seriously? You'll get much better customer service everywhere if you dress and present yourself well. Number 4, the city is not kid-friendly, and you have to adapt to stay sane.
You like the architecture here, Sebastian?
There are limited exceptions in Tribeca, Battery Park, the Upper West Side, and Upper East Side, but outside of a few pockets, the city is not kid-friendly. All of these areas I just named have their downsides. Tribeca is insanely expensive. Battery Park City is cool, but it's got a sleepy residential setting.
Nice. Get into that croissant, Sebastian.
The Upper West and Upper East Side are very residential with their own distinct styles. They're not for everyone. The rest of the city is largely a free-for-all, as in people don't really respect strollers. Now, there are plenty of people who will open doors and help carry a stroller down subway stairs. I've seen it. But if I had to count the number of times we've been profiled at restaurants where seats suddenly disappear once they see our stroller, or where people cut you off or block your path on the street, it'd be a high number. Regardless of where you live or stay in the city, you simply have to adapt. Don't bring a big stroller to restaurants unless you don't mind the stress or profiling. And if you need childcare, be ready to pay. Childcare costs in New York City are some of the highest in the country. Number 5, remember the competition here is global. You've got a combination of New Yorkers, visitors, commuters. So if you're trying to shop before Christmas or shop at the grocery store at peak times, like noon on a Sunday, think again. Plan your activities to avoid peak crowds. Go early to city attractions. Avoid big holidays. Plan to do stuff during the week if possible. Always remember that the competition in New York City is truly global. Number 6, you need a reservation everywhere. Plan ahead if you're going out for dinner. The same global competition applies to restaurants. Since 2023, I haven't seen New York City restaurants more crowded in the 10 years I've lived here. And here, some people want you to think that New York City is dangerous or dead. Tell that to the restaurant patrons. Even local neighborhood spots. Park Avenue Tavern, for example, right next to Grand Central. It's not exactly a destination restaurant, but good luck getting a table inside without a reservation. The same rule applies to almost all restaurants and bars in the city right now. I tried to meet my wife for a drink and impromptu dinner after work one random weekday. I tried 7 restaurants in Midtown of all price ranges before we finally found seats at a bar and a table. Insanity. The city is thriving and busier than ever. Plan ahead. Number 7, don't go out on New Year's, Valentine's Day, the Super Bowl, or any other ticketed big event. Few New Yorkers go out on these days. The pro move is to go to an apartment party or simply stay home and enjoy a nice time there. Anytime there are prefixed menus or admission fees for these types of events, the food is usually subpar, the service often inattentive, venues so packed to the point it's extremely uncomfortable. Tread cautiously if you go out on these days. Number 8, many people have a miserable standard of living. Have some self-respect for yourself. It never ceases to amaze me how much some New Yorkers and visitors are willing to put up just so they can sleep in Manhattan. People live in $2,000 closets. Studio apartment prices are insanely high right now. We were at a restaurant the other day and overheard 3 unrelated people talking about splitting a 1-bedroom so they could live in Manhattan with one person sleeping in the living room. Have some self-respect. Stop letting landlords get away with horrible living conditions just so you can live in Manhattan. Same goes for hotels. It's perfectly fine to stay outside Manhattan and commute in. Number 9. If you have an interest or craving, New York City can fulfill it. I get why people want to be in Manhattan though, because it can literally fulfill any interest or craving you have. You randomly feel like eating kangaroo. We got a spot. You want a Seattle Seahawks bar to watch the game with your hometown fans. We got that too. Clubs and associations for every college, hobby, interest. We have it all. My wife in particular likes all the self-care options. Spas, waxing, eyelashes, salons galore. It's insane. There's incredible convenience here, unmatched by any other American city. Number 10. Deal with the gross realities. The energy, culture, and interestingness of the city far outweigh its problems. Obviously, we have some work to do, but the benefits and beauties of this city far outweigh these issues. A story smacks you in the face the minute you walk out the door. There's no place like it on this globe. This intense and this interesting. I would put it up against anything. Bonus. Everyone here is on a mission. It's competitive and not everyone can handle it. So if you want to work in the city, survive, and get ahead, you need insane levels of persistence, perseverance, and drive to make your ideas heard. Otherwise, if you work for one of the big companies, you won't last, or you'll be shipped outside the city to a low-cost center. That's just the reality. So what do you think of these 10 lessons? What do you think of New York City? Where does it rank for you against its global competitors? Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the city soon. Cheers.